Hi, it's time for KISS Moment number 2. Again, KISS moments are how I integrate habits and regulate my emotions so that I can stay and live a green light life, a life of positivity and action. At a coaches meeting in early December, BJ Fogg, as you know, the author of Tiny Habits, proposed the idea to us coaches as creating a class before the end of the year. I was instantly intrigued. So I got shots of dopamine and I was feeling good. I was instantly intrigued by the idea and the financial incentive. I'm a synthesizer and lifelong learner by nature and have had ideas for a class like this bubbling and begging to be shared for quite some time. However, my survival hardwiring took precedence and I went into survival mode. Because I'm in action, it was red light thinking. So I pulled out my habit, metacognition, simplicity, and self-regulation tools in order to complete what I say I wanted to complete. Green light. I'm going to be referencing this chart, since I already pointed to it a time or two, referencing this chart from time to time as part of really discovery learning. This is eventually the kind of chart, kind of ideas that I'll want you to be visualizing in your head. And so I thought I'm just going to keep it out there, reference, and bring specificity to it. And you'll understand more, but before the end of the course, how I use it in my own life. Well, back to the Zoom meeting. So on the Zoom meeting, there were like 35 to 50. I'm kind of bad at counting how many, but how many coaches were there who had all been extended the same offer of, again, this course creation. And I could feel my stomach start to churn, my heart beat a little faster. I was experiencing shallow breathing because, of course, I was ready to, first I froze, and then I was ready to kind of flee. I just can't do it. I hadn't engaged yet. I had not engaged my metacognitive, which, by the way, is thinking about your thinking, my metacognitive choice point, yellow. And I promise, talk about yellow, but just for a little taste. Yellow is like at the stoplight, at the lights, where we decide, are we going to go faster? Are we going to go slower? Should we speed up? What are we going to do in this yellow zone? So that's why I've coined it yellow. And my body was back churning out cortisol and adrenaline, and I started comparing myself to others, because that's what this was all about. My survival mechanism. I didn't want, my territory was being invaded, perhaps. Why couldn't I be the only one creating a class? I didn't know how many people were interested. How many participants would there be? Would somebody else's ideas be better than mine? How many people, I think I said this, would I be competing against, so to speak? Did I have enough content? Would I be able to create a class that people would want to pay for? You get the idea. So as I felt the feelings and heard and felt all the red words and thoughts, all these started to swim in my head and swirl in my head. At that moment, I used self-talk to focus and pause, reminding myself that this is the place where I regulate my emotions and behavior changes. I was very negative, so I wanted my behavior and thoughts to change to green light thinking. And this is also the place, if I had, really been that frightened about it, or maybe couldn't come up with content, I can choose to stay stuck with negative red actions. But I really wanted to make this happen for myself and do positive green actions or behaviors. And so what I did, I'm going to pull up the book. Luckily, I had just finished reading this book by Dan Sullivan, the creator of The Gap and the Gain, and Dr. Benjamin Hardy. I'm going to read excerpts from it because I think these are critical. Along with my planning, I go, oh, thank goodness I've read The Gap and the Gain, because they're critical thoughts to living a green life or being stuck. And the gain is living the green life and being and moving forward. So I'd like you to read, because Dan and Dr. Benjamin Hardy say it a whole lot better than I could, and I want you to be able to really get what I got out of it and want to share that with you. So in the early 90s, Dan Sullivan, the world's foremost entrepreneurial coach, discovered how pervasive the gap was among highly successful clients, as well as people in general. Again, we're all hardwired the same. He exposed the gap as a toxic mindset that stopped people from being happy and appreciating their lives. He knew that until people got out of the gap, they'd never be as happy or successful as they could be. He set out to help people get out of the gap. The Gap and the Gain became one of Dan's most crucial and transformational concepts. Until now, this concept has kind of been hidden behind the exclusive walls of Dan Sullivan's strategic coaching program. While I'm thinking about it, I'm just going to turn my screen just ever briefly to, you'll see all my mess, to mindsets. My poster of fixed mindset, which is red thinking, and growth mindset, which is green light thinking. I just thought I'd throw that in right now. Thank you for allowing me to do that. Moving along to explain the gap and the gain. Despite a person's continuing growing success, happiness and security will never be yours, because gap mindset eventually stops growth altogether. And that's another reason I pointed to that, because it is a mindset chart. If you're in the gap and think that happiness and success are something you pursue and will have in your future, not now, but in your future, then you're in trouble. You're making yourself miserable, and just as bad, you're actually making everyone around you miserable with your gap thinking, because we tend to do unto others what we do to ourselves. When you're in the gap, you see everything through your gap lens. Nothing is ever enough. Nothing ever will be enough. Your child isn't doing a good enough job. I'm off book right now. Your coworker is not doing their part. You see the negative in everybody and everything around you, again, including yourself. You can't see the gain in yourself or in others. And until you do, you'll never be happy, plain and simple. This book will show you that it'll show you the only way out of the gap. And lucky for you, it's incredibly simple. And again, we're working with simplicity. We want things to be simple. And Dan and Dr. Benjamin Hardy really, it was like this partnership, I thought, in my mind. Not that I had anything to do with the book or whatever, but I'd had this chart going in my mind and in my life for a while, and it was just such a wonderful partnership. And with BJ's idea of habits, I digress. Let me get back. Luckily for you, it's incredibly simple. But don't be fooled by the simplicity. Just like BJ says, don't be fooled by the simplicity of tiny habits or by choosing the gap or the gain. So again, I'm going to repeat that. Don't be fooled by the simplicity of what you're about to learn. It's human nature, as we've been talking about, it's human nature to be in the gap. The gain is the antidote. The the gain creates immediate happiness. It's that shot of dopamine, that feel good, that confidence. The gain connects you to yourself and your own progress. The gain transforms everything. Just like Tiny Habits transforms your life, so does the gain. The gain gives you the power over the direction of your life. The gain gets you out of the gap. When you're in the gain, you need something. I said it wrong. When you're in the gap, my bad. When you're in the gap, you need something outside yourself. You're driven externally by some external ideal. You're reactive to what's going on outside of you. And that's where I was that day watching or participating in that Zoom meeting. Well, I put on my big girl boots and I engaged my metacognition, the point where behavior changes, and I paused. I was in the yellow zone. It's a place of calm, and it's a place, it may take a while to decide what you're going to do, but it's a safe place. In order for me to get in the gain and go green, I had to engage my visualization and my self-talk skills to say, remember, you're measuring backwards now. You've read The Gap and the Gain. You've coached and been in Tiny Habits. You're measuring backwards against myself, not against some ideal of creating this perfect class that only people will want just your class. That's not what it's about. Val, looking back, look at what you've created before. You've taught for 40 years. You've taught marriage education. You've taught kids with dyslexia. You've created classes that people have attended at workshops. I've made products. So I'm looking back at what I have already done. And Val, you just wrote last night, I've been keeping this, and we'll reference this journal and how to use it in a different way than you're used to, I think. At least it was a different way than I was used to. And so I've been using this journal, and I was reminding myself of that. I can't wait. I've put my gains every night since December 1st. I've put my gains in this book. And I've listed my 3 gains that I want to achieve the next day. I have success momentum. Keep my thinking green. Keep living that green light life. Since that day, I have stayed in the gain, since that day being the day that the day that BJ proposed this class creation. And I've stayed in it most of the time in regards to creating this class. And one of the big examples is that each night since December 8th, because I was worried about videotaping, I was worried about videotaping, I was worried about just getting the class created. And so the main thing was, I thought, how could I best help people and myself? It would help me just to talk in front of the camera, if you will, and share what I know. So what I did was I created this recipe. After I brush my teeth at night, I will go create one Loom video that shows how I implemented habits, implemented habits and regulated my emotions during the day that day. And, I just got distracted I thought I hadn't turned on my pause button. Again, I'm going to calm myself down. No, I'm just measuring. I'm doing a good job so far. I'm just going to continue with this class. But that's how I used the recipe, the habit recipe. And every night, even when I've been tired, even like on Christmas, other times, that's something I've stuck to so that I could continue to gain confidence, to be able to speak to you in this way, to be able to create videos that are hopefully engaging and inspiring to you. Okay, thank you.